Hello, friends. It's Katie back with another episode of my vlog and the return of the Cinema Club Sunday Roundup. Like I said last week, I took an unexpected break from my vlog for a few weeks, so I've actually missed 3 Sundays worth of the Cinema Club Sunday Roundup. And I'm not going to attempt to recap that many movies in my old format. In fact, part of what I did while I was taking my vlog break was really thinking about the format of the vlog and how I approach different topics and how I want to make some changes to that. So, debuting right now is the brand new format for Cinema Club, which is instead of taking things the way I did before, which was kind of a comprehensive diary approach where I was just letting you guys know every movie that we watched in the week in the order that we watched them, I realized, that's not the right way to present the movies. And what I want to do is I want to put the movies that I really enjoyed or I really want to tell you guys about because you might not know about them, or that otherwise really struck me as needing a highlight and needing to be promoted to people, if you will, and then leave the movies that are either, not as good to the end or the ones that are incredibly good but everybody knows about them. Like last week we watched Jurassic Park. I don't think I need to review Jurassic Park for you guys. In fact, I think I've already reviewed Jurassic Park on this vlog sometime in the last year. But I mean, it's Jurassic Park. So like all I need to do is say the title of that one, right? And I don't need to spend a lot of airtime on it just because people know the movie. And like I said, you guys actually can find my opinion of the movie if you look into the previous episodes of this vlog. So that said, let's jump right in on the movies that I really, really, really want to tell you about that we watched, starting with Lemonade Joe from 1964, directed by Aldrich Lipsky. Now, I remember I told you guys back before I took my break that I had just found out about the concept of red westerns or Eastern movies. And Lemonade Joe was the top example that I could find of a red Western. And so that's the one that we decided to start our sort of, Eastern journey with. And you guys, it is incredible. It is, like I said, from 1964. It's made in the former Czechoslovakia during Soviet times. And it is this perfect musical comedy satire of Westerns. It has every possible visual gag and joke and stereotype that you could imagine from an old school Hollywood Western, crammed into this bizarre Czechoslovakian film. It's shot in black and white, but then it's been color tinted. So depending on which scene you're watching, it's like black and yellow or black and blue or black and orange. Which is really cool visually. And then it is about a clean living, soda drinking cowboy, that's Lemonade Joe, who comes to, this town full of like whiskey drinking gunslingers who are constantly getting in gun battles. Lemonade Joe comes in and he's basically a walking advertisement for this product, Cola Loca. Sound familiar? And he keeps telling people they need to stop drinking whiskey and they need to start drinking Cola Loca instead because their hands won't shake and they'll just be a much better shot. And he proceeds to prove this to everyone through his amazing, ability as a gunslinger. As usual, I don't want to say too much about the plot, so I'm not going to. But like I said, if you are into the concept of red westerns, definitely check out this film. If you like musical comedies that are very funny, I would check this one out. And again, if you have a love for the genre of American Western films, or even not a love for it, but a decent working knowledge of the genre, I think is going to help here. I find myself wondering what Soviet audiences would have thought of this movie when it came out, because so many of the gags are riffing on American Westerns, which I seriously doubt the audience of this movie had seen that many of. And I wonder how good the jokes are if you actually haven't seen the source material. But This film is so good, I think it can stand on its own. But obviously, if you've seen some Westerns, it's definitely going to help with your enjoyment of this film. It was incredible. Also, I want to highlight, I was so excited to finally show the kids the ultra weird Japanese movie Tetsuo the Iron Man from 1989. This is the totally crazy, low budget, cyberpunk body horror Japanese movie. It is written, starring, directed by, produced by, edited by Shinya Tsukamoto, who's just basically a visionary artist who decided he wanted to make this movie. And he did it on basically no budget, working with his friends, shooting in his house. Apparently all the cast members were the crew members, and they were all living in the same house and shooting in the same house and driving each other crazy while they were making the movie. The movie itself is incredible. It is this totally bizarre, I think everyone has the same reaction the first time they watch Tetsuo, which is, wow, that was incredible, and I have no idea what I just watched. And I need to watch it again so that I can figure out what is the plot of this movie or what is really going on here. And on this one, I'm actually not going to tell you guys anything plot-wise. I'm just going to say, if you like low budget, independent, weird movies, if you are into cyberpunk and body horror at all, if you like weird Japanese movies, this is definitely required viewing. There are some sex scenes in it, so if you've got, young audience members or super prudish audience members who want to stay away from that type of stuff, be forewarned. But man, Tetsuo the Iron Man, an incredible, incredible film. I've only seen it a handful of times, but every time I watch it, I'm just like that the whole time. It's that cool to watch. And you guys know I love ultra low budget movies, and I love just seeing what crazy creative people do when kind of given the space. And, I guess with low budget films, you're not necessarily being given the space, you're maybe taking the space. But they're so different from the sort of movie by committee that Hollywood likes to crank out, So I'm a huge fan. And obviously the production value is not going to be anywhere near a big budget movie, but it doesn't matter. It's all heart, and there's so much cool stuff in there. It doesn't matter that it's low budget. In fact, like I keep saying, I think the low budget might actually be an advantage here. So Tetsuo the Iron Man, definitely check that one out. And then speaking of weird low budget movies, I finally got to show the kids one of my all-time favorites from when I was a kid. That is one of these movies that no one has ever heard of. The Wizard of Speed and Time from 1988, written by, starring, directed by, everythinged by Mike Jitloff. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this film. It's one of these totally weird movies. There was a short film that he made in 1979 with the same title, and it made the circuit at some film festivals and some science fiction conventions, and got into the hands of VHS tape traders. And then he wanted to make a full-length kind of expanded version of the same concept, and that's what the 1988 film is. And it's a movie about a guy who's trying to make a movie, and the movie he's trying to make is this 1979 short that he already made. So it kind of loops around on itself in that way, but it's really cool because what you have here is a guy, Mike Jitloff, who's an actual Hollywood animator. He used to work for Disney. He's a special effects man, is what he calls himself, and he gets hired to make a special effects reel for a special effects TV show that some guys are trying to produce. Now, the producers have this smarmy bet going on, and one of them is trying to get in his way and stop him. And he's also being really, really tripped up by the Hollywood system, and specifically the union system in Hollywood, where he can't film anything without hiring union people and paying union prices. And it's crazy, and it's beyond the scope of what he can possibly manage for his project. So what he does instead is goes off the Hollywood system rails and works with his friends on a no budget, shooting in his own garage, animating, editing, going out and having his friends record music for it. And basically the film, while it's a film about a guy making a low budget film, it also operates as a blueprint for how to make a low budget film. All kinds of tricks are kind of revealed in it, both in the narrative of the story itself, but also in the way that Jitlov shows you the story, if that makes sense. So this film is completely recommended for anyone who is super into stop motion animation, because he does some great stuff with stop motion animation in this movie. Anyone who's into old school hand painted cell animation used as special effects. He is the wizard of speed and time. And so he does a lot of like, whoosh, I'm going to do magic. And then the magic is like hand drawn sparkles on the actual film, which is great. I'm having to explain to the kids as we're watching this, no computers, no computers, no computers as we're going through. And it's just great. It's got all these wonderful little tricks, including things like showing long shots of a building where a meeting is supposedly happening and just having the audio of the meeting. And I keep, again, I'm pointing it out to the kids because I want to really fire their imagination about what you can do, what stories you can tell, even if you don't have any budget at all. So Wizard of Speed and Time, highly recommended for anyone interested in all that type of independent filmmaking stuff I just talked about. It is not available anywhere legally. It never got released on DVD, and it's never been released for streaming. It's only ever been released on VHS and Laserdisc. But there is a copy on YouTube, which I will link down in the comments below so you guys can check it out, which is put up with Mike Jitlov's permission. So it's not actually an illegal copy, but it is a freebie on YouTube, and that's the only way you can see it. So I'll put the link down below, and I hope you guys check it out because, again, this is one of my favorites that like nobody has ever seen. So Wizard of Speed and Time. And we also finally got to watch this last little session of Cinema Club, Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai, 1989. Nope, 1999. I was like, 89, that's way too early. Directed by Jim Jarmusch, starring Forrest Whitaker as a hitman who lives by a samurai code. Very cool, very interesting film. If you like Jim Jarmusch movies, you'll love Ghost Dog. If you don't know Jim Jarmusch movies, I wouldn't necessarily start with Ghost Dog, but it's a really good one, actually, maybe to dip your toes in with. It's very cool. It's like a gangster crime film that sort of smashes together like Italian mobsters and urban Black culture, and then this Japanese cultural stuff sort of laid over the top of it because he lives by a samurai code. It's very cool. It's very interestingly shot. It's very well written. It's very well acted. It's got a cool story. Don't know what else to say about Ghost Dog. I love this film. So highly recommended for all the reasons that I would recommend a film that I just talked about using the words I just said. And that's the 4 films I wanted to get into detail about this time. And now I'm going to speed up a little and hopefully I can cover everything else because this was a long gap. So in addition to those 4 films, we also had a little bit of a mini Studio Ghibli fest over the last 2 weeks. We've managed to watch Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke, and Howl's Moving Castle. All 3 100% recommended, total family favorites. We all love all of them, and all for different reasons. We did something a little bit new this time. We usually are purists about the whole subtitles versus dubbed thing, but a lot of the Ghibli stuff is easier to access in the dubbed versions. Thanks, Disney. So our functional knowledge of most of the Ghibli films is in the dubbed versions. And this time we were like, you know what, we're going to go totally subtitles only. We want to hear the original Japanese, performers doing their thing, and not a bunch of Hollywood actors who I can recognize their voices, and it distracts me from enjoying the film. The one exception to that is I did miss hearing Phil Hartman as Gigi the cat in the English language version of Kiki's Delivery Service because he is Gigi to me. But other than that, totally listening to the Japanese dialogue track was the way to go. Really enhanced my experience of all 3 films. I really, really enjoyed it. And you know, it's very distracting when you can hear a name actor, Billy Crystal as Calcifer in Howl's Moving Castle, or Gillian Anderson in Princess Mononoke. It's just like, it takes me right out of my immersive experience of the film. And I don't know these Japanese actors. I don't recognize their voices at all. And it's really cool to hear the dialogue, inflected and spoken, obviously, in the original language. So I'm going to recommend all three of those films, and watching them in the subtitled versions. It's the way to go. I'm completely sold on all of them. It was absolutely fantastic. I will say, if you have not watched Princess Mononoke and you have little kids, it is the most violent Ghibli movie of all of them. It's not like way, way over the top, but it's a little bit of a shocker if you've been used to things like, oh, Totoro or Ponyo or whatever, and then you watched Princess Mononoke. It's like, whoa, that's a crazy battle scene. So be forewarned on that one. And the other things that we managed to watch over the course of my break are Jurassic Park, like I said at the top, needs no explanation. We watched Rosemary's Baby for Mother's Day, which was really fun. I had not seen that movie since becoming a mom, and boy, does it hit different having gone through my own pregnancies and childbirths and whatnot. Wow, that movie is intense. Last time I saw it, I was a teenager, and it was intense when I was a teenager, but boo. As a mom, that is an intense movie. So if you want an intense experience and you're a mom, I'd watch that one. Other movies we watched were Team America World Police, which is just as funny as ever. It totally holds up over time. We watched Memento from 2000. That also held up extremely well. I super enjoyed it this time around. And we watched Yardi, which is Idris Elba's 2018 British gangster crime film. Takes place like half in Jamaica, and all of the cast are Jamaican actors or have very thick Jamaican accents that they've put on for the film, which makes it feel very authentic. But boy, the kids had a lot of trouble following the dialogue in this film. So Yardi, totally recommended. But if you have trouble with that accent, I don't know, you might want subtitles on there, or not sure. You're just going to miss part of the dialogue if you can't handle the Jamaican accent, because it's thick and it's all over the movie. We also watched The Howling, Joe Dante's werewolf movie. We watched Beverly Hills Cop 2, The Belko Experiment. That was kind of an interesting horror movie. We watched The World's End to complete the Cornetto Flavors trilogy that starts with Shaun of the Dead and then Hot Fuzz. We watched Train to Busan Peninsula, the sequel to Train to Busan, which was pretty good, but I didn't like the ending on that one. And we watched Journey to the Beginning of Time, which was another one of those Carol Zeman movies from back in the day. And I will go ahead and say it, we watched exactly 26 minutes of Army of the Dead before James rescued us all and said, hey, do we have to keep watching this movie? And the whole rest of the team said, oh, thank you so much for speaking up, because no, none of us are enjoying this film. So we liberated ourselves from that one. He actually said, Mom, never Wonder Woman a bad movie, reminding me how we all sat through Wonder Woman 1984, even though it was incredibly painful. So lesson learned, and we did not watch the rest of Army of the Dead. I don't know if you guys watched it, if you want to tell me like, oh, it gets great later on, but man, that movie did not grab me at all. And I'm a huge Dave Bautista fan, so oh well. And that's it. Wow, I managed to get through all those movies in less than 20 minutes. I'm proud of myself. As usual, I would love to hear what you guys have been watching over the last month, or if you have any recommendations for us for movies to watch. It is Memorial Day here in America tomorrow, which is the unofficial kickoff of the summer season. So I would love to hear about your favorite summer movies. We always try to watch lots of summer fun during summer and be seasonally correct. All right, you guys, I am going to end it here. I will be back in a few more days with another episode of my vlog. I promise. Until then, take care out there, stay safe, and as usual, thanks so much for watching.